One moment, please. My mother loves it when I say that. She always says, say it again, say it again.
Please hold. Technical difficulties. Please stand by.
Exactly. There you go.
Who said
All
that?
Please
right.
stand by.
All
Great.
right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, looks like we are live. Hey, it's my favorite day of the week. Thank God it is Monday, my friends. Welcome. This is our Monday Mastermind. We come here every Monday, 12 Eastern Standard Time. Part of this is so that we can, it's multifaceted, if you will. But part of this is so that we can, number one, celebrate our successes, talk about what great things happened last week, forget about some of the bad things that may have happened last week, and then have a topic of conversation for us to kind of move forward for this week and tackling our week, right? So appreciate each and every one of you guys being here. Hey, Durant. Glad you made it. Pleasure to see you. So today, I just want to preface before we get started, this is going to take a little bit of audience participation. I have something very fun planned for us today. Today is actually week two of the new year of 2025. So I thought to myself, all right, since we're on this road and roller coaster, if you will, with each other, starting off the year right, what are the things that we can talk about that will dynamically put our mind in the right place? Mostly because I'm sure all of us have heard this before. It's all in your mindset, right? Fix your mindset. Your mindset is wrong. It's off. Oh, your mindset, right? We talk a lot about that. And in fact, when it comes to the 5-day boot camp that myself and Brett did, or the 3-day boot camp that Rita and I did, that's the first place that I always start is the mindset. And I'm not going to sit here and, beat a dead horse because we've all heard it. But the reason that I want to do this today is because of, again, starting with the beginning of the year, what should we be focusing on? Obviously, mindset is number one, most important. So I'm going to be doing an exercise today that I'm going to absolutely love holding with you guys. And it is going to take some participation. I will say this before we get started. As always, the more you participate, the more that you can get out of this. Okay. Now, if for some reason you have to leave or you can't, take part of this and you see the value of this, then I would recommend that when you have some time later on this evening, when it's posted up on the Facebook group or up on YouTube, because I'm streaming it up on YouTube, do the exercise yourself that we're going to be going through today. And what I really trust and hope and believe is that this exercise is going to help expand your mind just a little bit. And I trust that it's also going to give you some clarity. Because here's the thing that I've learned in my experience. Most of the answers that we're looking for that we need are really inside of us, right? Can we all agree on that? However, sometimes it takes somebody else to bring those answers out of us for us, right? So that being said, we're going to have some fun today. It is week two. We're going to call this one mind control, ladies and gentlemen. But before we get started, I'd like to reach out in the audience. Tell us about your wins last week. I know you guys got some wins. I want to hear them. I want to celebrate them. Talk to me. Talk to me. Who wants to go first?
Well, I'll jump right in there. Using Now Site and commenting on someone's post, a young lady reached back out to me and sent me a friend request and then sent me an instant message right away.
Nice.
And well, I'm always leery of those. 99.999% of those are scammers that they reach out to you right away. So we made small talk and then I did a video. It was on my phone, did a quick video and sent it to her saying, hi, my name's Gene. I go by Gene, it's by Gene Beard. You can see my face matches my profile picture. Send me a video back, please, to do the same. I do that with everybody that sends me those type of messages real quick. It just weeds them out because
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, they can't do it, for some odd reason. Well, she questioned it at first, and I explained to her, I do this because of this. So she sent me one back. So we scheduled a one-on-one. So we got on a one-on-one, and she told me she was looking to do something else to make money. She was in Nigeria, and she had an appointment after our call with the guy with a travel deal. Well, I told her everything we did, And the way that we work with our business is we'll throw them into a three-way chat on WhatsApp or text, introduce them to someone on our upline who will say, hey, when's a good time we can all get together and talk? So we did that. She said, let's do it now. And she scheduled it for the time she was supposed to talk to the other guy with the travel agency. And she had the money to get in right away. So she's in the medical field. So the team in Africa, we have an office in Africa, they sent her some product ahead of time. And she sold one bottle and she signed in last week, got signed up last week.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
So
Wow. Freaking
and
awesome.
she's traveling around different cities in Nigeria. She's
Woo! I got goosebumps on that one. I love that.
well, that's she's traveling different cities in Nigeria, promoting the gel and stuff like that. But it just goes to show you that by using Now Site and commenting on someone else's post, drew it all the way down to her joining my team. So,
Not just that, bro, but what I picked up off of that is the teamwork that you guys did and had to be able to put it into her hands right away. And
mhm.
then for her to be able to duplicate that success, which is very, very important if we don't know that, right? Somebody coming into our business, if we can show them replication or duplication is a better word right away, then they're going to see, oh crap, this is easy. I can do this. And it goes back to what we were talking about at the very beginning. It's the mindset, right? Some people will have the right mindset and they can attach onto something and then just shoot for the moon. Others, we have to work on that mindset with people, right? So that's freaking amazing, Gene. Thank you for sharing that. I
Well, thank
love that
you.
it went all the way across the planet, you know? That's even cooler.
Exactly.
Like locally
She's
it's neat, but you're talking all the way over there in
yeah. Well, she's super excited. And if I could add one thing to your mindset,
yeah, yeah.
is it's all BS.
It is. It
It's
is.
all belief system.
Yep. Amen. I've heard that many times, many times. Thank you for sharing that, brother. And congratulations.
All right,
That's gonna be
thanks.
awesome. Keep us up to date, man. I love hearing those wins. Anybody
Thank you.
else got some wins they want to share? Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Vicky, I know you got some wins.
Yeah, I've had a really good, successful week as far as business online goes. My both of the trainings that I did, I only get a 5 minute part on each of the trainings, but I've been trying to use that
All
to
right.
grow and to learn how to own my message and get better at giving speeches and stuff. So, but it's funny that they like assign me to doing mindset, and I really love it. And and people are coming to me and saying, "Oh, we really liked your talk and everything." And so, of course, my phone's gonna ring right now. Okay, sorry.
All
Yeah,
right.
but
You're
and
getting
they're like
popular.
really appreciating it. And so then I did have mentioned the lost transition room to a couple of different people, and they some of them sound interested, so hopefully I'll be able to get them to the meetings coming up.
Awesome. That
So
sounds great.
still getting to know them a little bit. I don't want to be too pushy at first. So,
No, that's totally cool. And for those of you that don't know, and Elizabeth, welcome to the show. I'll call it a show because that's what it's been for the past, what, 3 years ish. The Lost Transition is there for any one of you guys if you want to invite people there, you know, so that they can go and get some kind of interaction, a positive interaction, if you will, for network marketing. The group was created over 3 years ago, and it's the whole job to freedom that I want to focus on. And part of these Monday meetings is that to make sure that we do get the mindset right. We do get, you know, questions that need to be answered, right? Especially in an environment of thriving network marketers like yourselves, those of you guys that are in the leadership space, which in essence, that's really what it comes down to, right? We all had to, at some point in time, step into our power and show that we can lead. So great job, Vicky. And I like to say and think about it, right? It's like your 5 minutes of fame. Keep on keeping on, and soon it'll be 30 minutes and then an hour, and then, you know, who knows? Sky's the limit, my friend. Congrats on all your growth. I love watching it. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you for sharing. Keisha, what you got, girl?
I successfully did absolutely nothing for a full 24 hours. I did nothing.
I
I
love it.
laid in my bed and I listened to trashy books on audio. I didn't
I
turn
love it.
on my TV. I didn't turn on my laptop. I didn't do any work. And then I rearranged my room on Sunday
Uh,
with my daughter's help.
uh,
And now I have more desk space. I can reach
nice.
my hands out on both.
That's funny. What did you call the audios?
Trashy books.
Okay, we used to call that smut.
Same difference.
Yeah, like romance novels.
Yeah. I like the ones where, somebody was underestimated and then, they come back and it's like, oh, you thought you had me, but you didn't.
True
So
underdog story, right? That's
I
awesome.
love those.
You know what?
And then I actually successfully have three of my now site team members in here. So I was so glad they heard Gene's story this morning.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good, good.
So
Great to have everybody here. And thank you for sharing. Yeah, sometimes you had to just disconnect, man. And I'm happy to hear that you did. Even funnier that you were disconnecting with all that smut.
I'm always working. It's like I'm always too busy to do it. Man, the good thing is that since I haven't been in for so long, I actually had a whole day's worth of it because you only unlock a couple every day. But I haven't been in for like months. You know what I'm saying? So
She had some catching
I
up
had
to do.
enough to keep me up to date.
That's awesome, girl. Well, good. Well, you ready to get your butt back to work or what?
I got up 7 o'clock this morning and was back to work.
All right, let's get at it. Thanks for sharing. Rita, go ahead, my friend.
Woohoo! Hey, everybody. I am so excited. I was speaking with Coach and Keisha over the weekend while this whole thing transpired, but it's in alignment with what Keisha was saying, taking time for yourself. And one of the things that what we do allows us to do that. So a couple of months ago, I got tickets to a candlelight experience that was being held at a church, and they had hundreds of candles, battery operated, that were lit to provide this wonderful ambiance. And the music that they focused on was a string quartet, and they played music from the series Bridgerton. For those of you that are into that kind of experience, it might be something that you might want to get involved with because it's quite amazing. Jackie, no, I know you speak with that accent and I love it, so I'm
I was
working.
just gonna say, anybody notice the accent change, the tonal inflection? He just became another person who jumped into character. I love it.
So at the bottom of the event ticket, it said you can come dressed in costume. And I was like, I'm in. I'm going to be Queen, oh geez, Queen Charlotte. And I was so super stoked. One of my best friends, she's 80, and she dressed as, and we didn't know either one of us was doing this. I told her I was dressing in costume. I didn't tell her who. She's dressing in costume. She didn't tell me who. As it turned out, she dressed as Queen Charlotte's best friend, Lady Danbury, and it was amazing. So when we got there, my husband had arranged for an SUV to pick us up, so we were quite in the frame of royalty, and treated us very well, got us into the vehicle, and I was wearing this huge poofy dress. I did dress in that period of time, and so we got in, got to the event, and people didn't know how to take us. They thought we were a part of the event. We became celebrities. They wanted to take pictures with us, take pictures of us. When we got there, because we got there were three other couples that were there, and we were in the courtyard because I wanted to be. I manifested. I knew where I wanted to sit. And that's why what's in your head is important. So I could see myself dressed coming down the aisle because I took pictures of the church from the inside because they have that on Google. So you can look at Google and find the pictures. So I was like, okay, I know where I want to sit. And because we were there early, the young lady who was taking tickets told the crowd, there were some people here before you, and I want to get them in first. And so she turned around and she looked at us and she was beckoning us to come. And so like, and so we got in, and then another young lady, she told her we were sitting in A because I bought where I wanted to sit. She took us right to the seats where I was going to sit. And I saw it in my head, and it happened. And I was so excited. The concert was wonderful. It was about an hour,
Thank
but
you.
It was amazing. My friend and I went back to this. We got a hotel room and we had drinks before we got out of costume. And then she stayed at the hotel and I, because I was only 10 minutes away. And talk about a magical experience and why it's important to do those things. I will never forget that, how it made me feel. And now I can get my butt in gear because I got work to do now. So I had my fun time. I'm done for now.
I love it. I love it. I
Thank
love it. What
you.
an amazing story. And thank you, Keisha, for sharing that. I was going to ask Rita to post that. Guys, take a look at that picture. It's so, so cool. You look so extravagant. You know, I absolutely love that story, and I'm happy that you experienced that. What I really loved out of that whole thing, too, is the key word that you talked about, manifestation there.
Yeah.
That's something that I love, you know. So kudos to you, girl. Thank you for sharing. What an amazing experience. What an amazing experience, my friend. Anybody else got any shares? Any wins? Don't be shy. Still got a couple minutes before I go into my part. If not, I'll go. I will. Don't make me. Don't make me teach you something. All right. If there's no other wins for last week, let's go ahead and get into this portion here that I want to talk about. Fun, fun, fun. So, as I mentioned at the very beginning of this meeting, right? We're going to do a little bit of an interaction or an exercise, if you will, for lack of better terms. But this exercise is not going to require you to get out of your seat. It's not going to require you to do any jumping jacks or push-ups or anything like that, even though that would be fun. It's not what we're going to do. But this is week 2. We're going to talk a little bit about mind control. And not mind control in the essence that you might think, like, okay, it's cool if you could control somebody's mind, right? When in essence, you actually can. And I've proven a lot of that. A lot of that comes from sales psychology, but I do want to put this quick disclaimer out there because it's very important. The things that we teach, especially when it comes to sales psychology and influencing the mind, is the way that I like to put it the best, are to be used for good. Okay, very important that we understand that. Not for bad things, not to manipulate people. So with that being said, we're going to talk about mind control today a little bit more on the brain programming or reprogramming side of things. Part of that goes back to what we were talking about at the very beginning about having the right mindset. And even still, what comes to my mind right away is those people that doubt themselves, right? Or maybe you look at something and you say, well, I don't know if I could do that, right? In essence, what they're called limiting beliefs. So many of us will go through life until we understand these things and we start changing those limiting beliefs. When we change those limiting beliefs, believe it or not, it is a form of reprogramming your brain, right? So it's a form of mind control, but it's self mind control, right? So we talked somewhat about this last week, but as I mentioned, like I like to kind of think about, okay, where are we at right now? Where are we going to be going? So last week we talked a little bit about good habits, and some of the things that we mentioned in there do kind of correlate with what we're talking about today, right? So, but what I want to talk about at the very beginning is the brain reprogramming itself. So this is technically, like, if you want to put it out on paper, it's the process of changing whatever your existing thought patterns are, also whatever your beliefs are, and then the habits, right? We mentioned habits last week, and those habits, so that you can use those to create new and more beneficial ones instead of the older ones that you're not real happy with. At the very beginning, I had mentioned too, right? Many of us have the answers inside of us, but sometimes it takes maybe a program like this, maybe a Monday Mastermind to think about it or to draw those things out. And when we have that thing that I like to call awareness, then we can make those necessary changes. See, a lot of times I don't believe that many of us actually know that we're doing something incorrectly until again it's shown to us, right? But at the same time, not everybody's going to come and tell you, hey, you're doing something wrong, right? So brain programming itself, it realistically, it involves what we call neuroplasticity. I know that's seemingly like a big word, right? And you may or may not have heard about it, but it's neuroplasticity. And all that is just a big word just telling you like what the brain's ability is to reorganize itself by forming these new neural connections, if you will. And this happens all throughout our life, right? From the time that we're very little all the way to the time that we pass away. We can change these neuroplasticities within our brain. Realistically, it's going to come down to you being open to those changes, first off, right? Because if you're not open to change, then nothing's going to happen. You'll never accept that change. You'll never move forward within that change. So, what we're doing and looking for as far as results is we're looking for outcomes or effects of actions that are going to be taken that are different than what we used to do. In the context of personal development itself, it's just like asking for better results, right? I mean, like achieving more in what you want in life and the things that you desire, right? Good, better, best, never let it rest till your good is better and your better is best comes to mind. Also, what comes to mind is Rita's story today about having her experience and that desire that she went through and the feeling of gratitude and being in that moment, which is something very paramount that can literally help rewire or, change that neuroplasticity within the brain. When you start having experiences like that and you get into that feeling and that energy, that's really it's a vibration, right? So that being said, and not to go too far off the roller coaster, but we all deal with this vibrational emotions, if you will, on a daily basis. It really depends on where you're vibrating at, on what happens throughout your day, right? So for me, as you know, if you don't, I jump out of bed. My vibration is very high at the beginning of the day. I'm excited to start my day, mostly because I'm excited to spend time with you guys, especially on a Monday morning. Share these different things that we're doing, hear about you guys' results, because ultimately, I love living vicariously through my friends. I can't do it all, but I love living vicariously through my friends, right? So we're looking for results that are going to be better than the ones that we were doing before, right? This is a great way for us to kind of look at, if you want to, from a grand scope of the secret and manifesting the different things that you want. We have to change the neuroplasticity, change the mind control, change the negative behavior, change the thought patterns to something that's going to be more rewarding for us. And when that happens and we dig down into the subconscious, because realistically, the subconscious is what rules your life, now you start talking at a different level, right? When you're able to effectively talk to your subconscious to make changes in your life, you will see big changes that will happen. Okay. So this is just kind of an introduction, if you will, when we're talking about the power of a mind. It's an extraordinary force, right? We know this, we've heard this, but it shapes every single aspect of our lives, right? Like every single aspect, from our daily decisions to whatever our long-term goals and dreams are as well. It's literally, it's encompassing our ability to think, feel, reason, and even how we act. So the concept of mind control itself, in the context of like self-improvement, because that's what we always talk about here, right? It's not about pitching and selling. It's about self-improvement. It's about that personal development. It's about becoming that person that people want to follow or want to be a part of because of the knowledge maybe that you have, or maybe it's your story. Maybe it's your resolve, right? We've talked about this before. We've mentioned it. Every one of us in here has a story. But if we never tell it, no one's going to know. And that story could be the difference in somebody else's life. And when you're able to tell your story of resilience and something that you've overcome, you can utilize that to help somebody else overcome that same thing. Everybody see the power in that? Yeah. So it's important as we go on this journey to understand these little things and kind of take them all in and conceptualize them all, but then ultimately using these things that we're talking about, changing that neuroplasticity, and then making the changes that we want to within our life. It's really like it's to me when I think about it, it's harnessing the inherent power of our minds to direct the thoughts in the way that serve us. Right? Rather than just allowing some kind of habitual pattern to take place and then some negative belief to hold you down. Right? When we master mind control, especially our own mind control, we can achieve greater focus, right? Which is a big problem with most of us. We have the attention span of gnats these days, right? Sparrow, right? Or in my wife's case, butterfly, right? So we had to master that mind control, and that'll help give us greater focus. I talked about this last year as far as like a little focus exercise. And something that they kind of taught us in the military is to be aware and observant of my entire surroundings. When you're aware of your entire surroundings, it also gives you a way to focus. I could sit here and sit back in my chair, as I've explained before, put a dot on my wall and stare at that dot. And if I focus enough on that dot, everything that's in my peripheral vision, everything around me will come into focus. If you don't believe me, try it sometime. It's an exercise that we did last year. So understanding that we can achieve that greater focus, when we can focus better, there's going to be better resilience. We're going to be better at adaptability, right? Which is something else that we talked about in the military, to be very adaptable, which helps us lead to like enhanced performance, right? Better fulfillment, better success in various areas of our lives. I don't know, Rita, if you had heard this story or not before, but we had a lady that wanted to do a reading for myself and my wife, Diane. She was looking for some testimonials and stuff were completely free. I'm like, yeah, sure, we'll try it out. And we got to talking, and she saw this was last year, by the way, before it was in 2023 going into 2024. And I didn't tell her anything, but I kind of hinted, muster us that we're doing some big things in the background. And off of her reading, she told me, she's like, oh man, as I pull the cards over, I can see like most things that you put your mind to, you achieve. So no problem there. It was a really cool experience. And then to hear that, it's like, all right, so we got this, which helped solidify the things that I was already thinking, which helped change that neuroplasticity, which helped me master mind control on my own, right, of my own self. And then there's a phrase that comes to my mind that I want to share with you guys. Write it down if you need to. It's pretty easy to remember, though. This was in the military that taught us this is mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter, right? So you have to mind for it to matter. Now, that being said, what I want to do is I want to go in and we're going to talk a little bit and we're going to do this exercise. Now, what I'd like you guys to do if you're going to participate is I need you to be on camera so that we can see your faces and what you're doing. All right. What we're going to do is we're going to see if we can't help you change some of that neuroplasticity right here, right now. That cool for everybody? Need to make sure I have your permission to do this. Cool? Okay. So, what I want everybody to do is first off, make sure that you got a comfortable spot. I want you to sit back in your chair and I want you to relax. This is going to take some trust on your behalf. I want you to close your eyes and I want you to listen to my voice for a few moments. Now, I'm not going to put bad things in your mind or anything like that, but I do need you to close your eyes just so that you can focus. And what I want you to first off start doing is I want you to start breathing. And the way I want you to breathe is I want you to breathe through your nose and out of your mouth. We're going to take one deep breath together. I want you to think about how you're feeling at this moment. And take another deep breath in through the nose, out the mouth. Now, while you're breathing, what I want you to do is just pay attention to where your mind is wandering. Another deep breath in, deep breath out. What is your mind telling you right now? Where is it wanting to wander? Don't say anything yet. Just pay attention to it. Take another deep breath. Let it out. Now, as you're thinking about where your mind is wandering so that you don't forget, I want you to come back and focus more on your breathing. And breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Possibly thinking about where your mind was wanting to go. Take another deep breath in. Take another deep breath out. Now, I want you to slowly breathe and listen to my voice. I want you to think about your brain's ability to reorganize itself. And the way that we do that is we form neural connections throughout your life. So these things that you're thinking about right now, I want you to think about, are they good or bad in your life? Your mind is asking you to wander someplace. There's a reason. Is it good or bad? Don't tell us just yet. We're going to ask you to tell us your experience at the end of this. But the main thing that we want to do and focus on is what's happening where your mind is actually going at the moment. Okay? Now I want you to take yourself back to your breathing. Breathe in through your nose, out your mouth. Okay? One more time. Breathe in your nose, out your mouth. Now, as you're sitting here listening to my voice and you're mindful of the things that are running through your mouth or through your head, excuse me, I want you to visualize some way of overcoming whatever is in your mind. So, if that's a situation that you're taken to, I want you to visualize overcoming whatever that situation is. If it's something that you don't like in your mind, I want you to visualize kicking it out of your life, getting rid of it forever. Take a deep breath in, let it out. Again, I want you to be mindful of where your mind is roaming. Secondly, I want you to visualize what is the action that you're taking towards whatever's roaming in your mind. Take another deep breath in, let it out. Take one more deep breath in. Big one, big one, big one. Let it out. At your leisure, you can open up your eyes. I'll count to 5. Take your time opening up your eyes. I want you to be mindful of what you just experienced. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now, what I'd like to do is hold up your hand and tell me about your experience. What went into your mind? Where was your mind racing? And what was the visualization that you did? Please do. Go ahead, read it.
Because I do this exercise, Willie had suggested me doing it at night, and then I usually do it in the morning. I just go into empty space
Empty
where
space.
I don't want anything in my head because that exercise makes me think of emptying the trash. And
Was there anything that popped up into your head before you went to empty space?
no, just there, I can't, it's not a drawing, it's not a picture, it's an area. So it's reddish brown in color and very, brown on more towards brown with little hints of kind of like Elizabeth's uh, ceiling, I believe, the color, but a little darker. So
Gotcha.
it's total darkness, except I can see that's where I want to go. because
Okay.
that's the empty space I want to be in.
And then what?
And then I just concentrate on staying empty because
Yeah.
that's my goal. And the goal is to get rid of anything that's in because otherwise there'll be thoughts coming like they do during the day. This is a chance for me to get rid of all those thoughts so I can make room for new ones.
Nice. Nice. So obviously there's some mindfulness that has to happen there, right?
Yes.
And I would have to say that Rita, you're probably part of the exception. Not many people have done that type of exercise. So thank you for sharing that for sure. Anybody else have something pop up in their mind that distracted them, took them away?
Well, for me, and this happens every time I'm doing this exercise with somebody, I almost drift off. I have to catch myself that I'm I just like Rita, kind of just empty my mind. I'm listening to your voice. And then all of a sudden you say breathe, and I realize I haven't breathed through my nose, not my mouth, like you told me to. But there's nothing really in my mind per se.
Yeah, good,
So I'm
good.
kind of, like I said, like Rita, I'm kind of just emptied out. But then after I empty out, I start drifting off. So I gotta catch
When you
myself and
drift
pay
off,
attention.
where do you drift off to?
To sleep almost. I'm just so
Ah, okay.
relaxed. And
Comfortable,
so,
relaxed. Love it. Okay.
yeah. So, and I have to, like I said, and all of a sudden I hear you say, breathe through your nose. And I realize I'm not breathing from the nose anymore. And I have to do that again. So, but, but no, nothing really enters into my mind per se like that, because this is, again, we're going back to Rita. This is a dumping stage
Sure.
that you go to. And I do better without someone's voice in my head at the same time,
Nice.
because your voice almost becomes soothing and relaxing. so so I
Good.
get it almost in a meditative state, and I'm not good at meditating. If I try to meditate, I will just pass out. So, but
Right. Right. And that being said, I appreciate you sharing that. Like part of this is to see whether or not your mind is wandering or where it's going to so that you can have a little bit of that awareness to have more mind control.
mhm,
And realistically, like I put a post out this morning that talks a little bit about it, and we talk about it from time to time, is that whole shiny object syndrome.
mhm,
Like I believe that that has to happen. So minds are going to wander. But if you have people like ourselves, maybe you're in that position or not in that position to where you found what it is that you know is that vehicle that's going to take you from point A to point Z, then you've got some passion behind it, right? And your mind may not tend to wander at all. You know, I was, as always, approached by a friend of mine. Hey, check this out. Hey, jumped on. And in fact, twice this last week. And I'm like, no, thanks. That's where I got to put my blinders on and say the right words so that I don't, you know, frustrate them or piss them off. But I just say, like, thanks for thinking of me, that kind of thing. Especially if somebody jumps in and they're trying to sell me AI. I'm like, conflict of interest. Sorry. Thanks for thinking of me. you know, have a great
mhm,
day. Wish you all the best. You can give people a no without breaking their soul or their spirit. Anyway,
mhm.
anybody else, Keisha, you want to share? You had your hand up.
It's funny because I use that same exercise, especially when I'm working security and I have somebody that either just got in a fight. I had a lady who actually got her head cut open by a shark. Longer story, don't worry about it, but it happened. And she was bleeding and freaking out. And I was like, I held her hand and I was like, just listen to my voice and breathe in, breathe out. By the time the ambulance got there, she was calm, the bleeding had reduced and everything else.
Oh,
And I use it to, like Rita, to clear my head because my head, I am doing 100 things at once. My brain naturally runs on three tracks, and
sure.
sometimes I need to dump it all. So I use it to clear my own head in order to think of nothing so I can then line everything up properly because I almost every time as I come out of that, I'm clear as to what I need to do in what order. So
See, it's
whenever I feel,
interesting.
excuse me?
Yeah, it's interesting hearing you guys' your results, right? Because I'm actually somewhat the opposite of that because I will think of those things And as I was mentioning, this is all just so that we have an exercise that we could do if we've never done it or been experienced to do it before.
Mhm.
When I sit there and I do my breathing, I think of those things. My mind does wander to those things that need to be accomplished. And then when I wander to those things, I can now put them in like an order, like what you're talking about,
Yeah,
Keisha. You
they
know
go
what
in
I'm
an
saying?
order, but I have
Yeah,
to empty first
sure.
because if I don't empty, I have my preconceived notion I had about how I was going to do it. And sometimes because of the way they came, the order they came, they don't necessarily need to be done in that order. And
Right,
sometimes I'm pushing it all out. I get to look at it different when I come back to focus, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, this, then this, then this, then this.
right, right.
You know, but I swear, insecurity, I've used it so many times to de-escalate situations. It's ridiculous.
Tell us more about that.
Because again, when a lot of times in security, you think you have to be the biggest, baddest one in the room to get the situation calm. And sometimes it's the polar opposite.
Huh.
You literally have to get that person to calm down, and telling them to be quiet or don't, no, calm down, but talk to me. Tell me what's going on. And like I keep lowering my voice lower and lower because the more they yell, the lower I bring my voice. And then they're starting to calm down, I said, now just breathe with me. I said, don't think about anything, just breathe in, breathe out, and do it with them. Right? I said, now explain to me what really just happened. And all of a sudden, they're able to like articulate what happened and get calm enough to just go about their business.
Love it.
And it helps so much.
Love it.
Don't get
Love
me wrong. The other side of Keisha is to drop kick you down the stairs, but we're gonna try nice first. We always try nice first.
Yeah, absolutely. I get that,
And
right?
because I'm so famous for those two things, when the times when I do have to drop kick somebody down the stairs, you know how many times they come back and apologize to me for putting me in the position to have to do that because they know that I would do that if I had to.
Right. Yeah,
So
I've been in that situation.
it makes it so like I literally get flown out every year because even though we have a sea of army people to deal with, they all equally respect me. They will literally tell me, I can't stand you, but I respect you.
Love it. Love it.
You know what I'm saying? You always messing up my fun. I said, and yeah, and if I let everybody have fun the way you having fun when we have, it goes chaos.
Right. Nothing will get done. Awesome. Thanks for sharing. Gene, you had some?
Well, feeding off what Keisha just said is when there is trauma, when there is panic, our neural pathways in our mind are just doing this. And that breathing technique is what helps, and that emptiness is what helps mend these back together again, and our pathways and everything like that. So, that's why that's so helpful. I've used that technique also to help calm other people down too. And it's that's why it's so helpful because the mind just all of a sudden it doesn't know what to do, it doesn't know how to handle it. It's fight or flight, and helps bring that mode of fight or flight. I can't say it right. Fight or flight back down to a more cognitive level of communication. So,
Got you. Yeah. That makes sense. 1000% to me. So I got a question for those of you guys that are here, and anybody can take this, but does anybody in here have any limiting beliefs that they can think of that pop up in their head? You do? Catherine, tell us about that.
Yeah.
What are some of your limiting beliefs and are you ready to like reprogram those?
Yes, I was going to tell you about my breathing, but this goes along with that. While I was in that stage, I was found myself in a place where all my stress was being released, and that I was deposited in a spot where I would never go back and pick it up again. So that's what I got out of breathing in and out a few minutes ago. Well, a limited belief is, yes, I have that quite often in the industry that I'm in. to the point where I said, "Oh, I'm never going to get where I want to be. I'm never going to be successful in this industry, and I can't do this particular business because I'm not equipped to do it." When I know that's not the case, because if, like Les Brown said, if someone else have already done it, then you can do it too. He said, if you
Amen.
can, it's nothing is possible because
Mhm.
it's already have been done. So that's where.
I love, love, love what you just said, Catherine, and that's so true. Hopefully, everybody can resonate with what you just said. Right? It has been done. That's the beauty. It has been done time and time again, right? So why not you? Why can't you? Right? Keisha, go ahead. Thank you for sharing that, Catherine.
It's to Catherine specifically, regardless of the limiting beliefs that she's had, she's managed to help me in that same industry more than anybody else, her by herself. So it's interesting to me that she feels like she cannot do this because I specifically, without Catherine's input, would not have done a lot of the things I've done in this business.
That's got to make you feel good, Catherine.
It does to the fact that I should have said the limited belief was is gone. I know I can do this, so I projected that maybe to Keisha, and I appreciate her saying that. So that's make me realize that I am on the right path. And Rita, I would without Keisha me inputting into her, and about Rita inputting to me, that's have really enforced the fact that nothing is impossible.
I
That
love it.
I can reach
Absolutely
those.
love it. Love it. Love it.
Almost my entire back office was built with Catherine's help.
Thank you. Glad to be of help.
That's got to make you feel good, my friend. I love it. Love it. TW, what you got, brother?
You know what? One of my biggest limiting beliefs when I moved from Maui to Washington, it wasn't at the best time financially. You know, I was working for a company that because of the fire in Lahaina, the company closed down, lost my income, went through a lot of savings, and so financially, it was a tough time in my life. And mind you, um, in my prior career, I was making six figures, so I went from having a lot to not enough. And so moving here to Washington, jumping on the flight, a thought hit me that the next time I come back to Hawaii will be in a box. And so that limiting belief but has been is gone from my mind, but it still popped in there. And I know now that with God, all things are possible. And just like how you mentioned earlier, and my faith has risen up within me, and I'm slowly getting back because when I was making six figures, my life was dedicated to God, and I was walking in His principles and living by what the promises that He delivered for us to live by.
Love
You
it.
know, things happen, you move away, but I've recommitted my life, and I'm walking in those principles now. So I believe that each and every one of us has a calling. We can succumb to the enemy or we can walk in the power of God.
Woo! Give me some goosebumps there, Terry. Woo! Love it. Oh, 100%. 100%, brother. Anybody feel those goosebumps there? Woo! Love it. Love it. Rita, go ahead.
That was a great commentary, TW.
Yeah.
And I actually can resonate with that. And also to Catherine, I will say that the Blakester has commented on being focused. All you have to do, and there's a movie, and I don't remember, but all I remember is they were racing a motorcycle. They both had the same end result, and there was an aura or a tunnel, and that to me represents the focus. I see nothing else on the outside of that. Just like the event that I was talking about. That's all I saw. I wasn't on social media. On occasion, I popped in and out, but not like I will be doing today. And so none of that mattered. The only thing that mattered was what I was working on. What was my end result? What was my goal? I already cleared my head out. I knew what I had to do. All you have to do is see what it is that you want, and you see it, and of course there are actions and activities that go along with it. So my actions and activities were going to find some fabric that I wanted to embellish this dress with. I knew what I wanted it to look like, but it took me a minute to get, and it was a process. I don't want to go into that, but I knew what I wanted, and that's all I focused on. So when you ask about how others do it, they just focused. And maybe that's something that we haven't learned yet. And when you have a situation where Blakester was talking about neuroplasticity, when you have those, and Jean was demonstrating this and them crossing, when you're looking for information and wondering how to get that done, and you get those connectors from the left side and the right side of your brain to actually mesh and give you those answers because you're looking for it, it will come to you. You can do it. You just have to stay focused. And if you think about it seriously, you'll find that you're not. And that's not why you're not getting what you want. So make sure you get focused. Believe me, I know, I understand, I get it. And you have to make that choice. You have chosen to go after that, and I applaud you for it. But in order to do that, you got to have that plan and you got to set your focus. Thank you.
So true. And I just got to dip in here before we go to Gene and Dorea. Know your numbers, right? Know your metrics. I would ask you, show of hands, with the business that you're focused on, do you know what your numbers are? Do you know how many you're looking for or going for so that you can get to where it is that you want to be, right? As a quick example, I've got my numbers here off to the right. I'm looking for 11 for my team coaching, 8 for now site, 6 for got backup, and 4 for 7K medals. I got my numbers. If you don't have your numbers, get your numbers, because numbers don't lie. And another conversation happened this morning. Somebody else posted on Facebook about that. And I said, the sad thing is that's one of the biggest things that us as marketers skip or miss because we're not taught, is looking at that data. Rita knows how I don't know what word to use, how compassionate and how loving I am of data and numbers, because it tells you the story. It tells you exactly what you need to do. And if you're focused, like we talk about, those 5 conversations per hour, you will hit those numbers, man. That will help you focus, right? But you
I,
got to know your numbers. Gene,
I
go
got
ahead, brother. Go ahead. Sorry, Rita. What?
I wanted to say that's 1,000% true. I've experienced that. And I've also mentioned Michelle's planner that helped me to accomplish that, doing the 5 per hour. At least that gives you a target. And yes, you are spot. I'm living testimony to that. You don't have your numbers, and the world runs off of numbers. If you cannot see anything else, understand that is in everything that we do. Everything. So if you understand that, jump on that wave, right? Get on that wave and start riding it, because they're talking about numbers. Baseball, football players are all of sports, everything around you. Just think of anything, even your electric bill. I mean, common things. It's all around you. Jump on, get with the numbers, and you'll hit it.
Yep, true. Dorea had to run. I was hoping to hear what she had to say. No worries. Gene, go ahead, brother.
Well, if she's still here, she can speak up real quick.
She already dropped.
She
No
already
worries.
did drop. Okay.
Yeah.
What's a game that our elementary school teachers used to have us play, and we never realized that it was building our neural pathways in our head, stuff like that?
Red light, green light.
Well, I'm thinking more like Simon Says,
Oh, okay. Oh,
because it was teaching us not to react unless they said Simon Says first. So it was building that neural pathway. Same thing with musical chairs. It's teaching us to sit when that music stops. But as we become adults, we don't play those games anymore to help build our neural pathways.
says who?
but we need to find other ways to do this, and we've forgotten about all that, because back then we didn't understand, and teachers may not have understood either what they were doing back then with some of us. But that's what that's doing, is helping to build that mind control of
100%, brother.
don't raise your hand until they say Simon Says raise your hand, stuff
Right.
like that. But like I said, we as adults now, we have to find other ways to do that. And I bet you 99% of the adults in the world aren't even thinking like that before. So you're actually branching out into something very cool for us to really contemplate of what other ways can we do, other things we can do to help build more mind control, help build those neural pathways better and teach those. And we
Right.
know that as we age, you said before, they start dissipating, stuff like that. So,
Love it. So
it's
what you're telling me is you got some value from today, huh?
oh yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
So
I love it. Love it. Keisha, what you got? Uh, Thank you, brother.
Actually, I just went blank.
That happens. Love it. Love it. Put you on the spot there.
he didn't say
Oh,
Anybody?
I know
science
what it
says
was. I
forget.
remember what it was. I remember what it was. Okay, so the funny thing is, I am a stats person, but when it came to my half dozen network marketing business, I don't have those numbers. And I realized that this past week, and I was like, I don't know what my numbers are. Like, I know what number in general I want to make, but how that breaks down to each of my network marketing businesses, I hadn't done that yet. So I actually have an accountability partner. That's our exercise for tomorrow is to sit down, list out each business, what it brings in per whatever, and what we would need to do to hit our numbers. And I thought it was hilarious that you brought it up because I was like, I am a stats person. You ask me the numbers on anything else in my life, I can tell you exactly what those numbers are, but this, and this is the most important.
Yeah, the
Uh,
universe tends to speak to me.
well, I say this on a regular basis. I don't need somebody on Facebook to reach out to me to tell
Right.
me you need to do this and that or the other, right? But when the universe needs to speak to me, it knows how to. Like
Very
it
true.
either does it in a dream or it does it in something like this where I'm struggling with something and all of a sudden my next meeting takes care of that something.
Yeah, and it's whether
And
or
when
not
it happens in
people
a
choose.
dream, the reason how I differentiate just a regular dream with one telling me what to do is it's always the person least likely to talk to me about this subject comes in and breaks it down in all its parts.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like
totally.
literally the biggest clown I know will come and explain physics to me. Like it was want to know, wait a minute, I need to pay attention to this.
Yeah, that's the key thing, right? As to whether or not we listen. I said hear, but it's better to say listen, right? Even like for myself, if there's a thought that pops up into my head, man, I do my best to listen to it because obviously it's there for a reason, right? Which goes into what we were talking about today, which is mind control. And ultimately, today was just about opening up the awareness and opening up your eyes so that you can have better mind control. When you see your mind drifting off, take that deep breath and then do the visualization to actually see yourself going through and maybe taking care of whatever that challenge is or clearing your mind like what we were talking about. The other thing to mention, all those things pop into my head and I can instantly categorize them on the time limit that I need to worry about them, which helps me focus more because then I can put an order of precedence on what needs to get accomplished, right? And so when I look at the things that need to get accomplished first, or more importantly, then I'm easily able to get those done within a specific time limit, and I go back to thinking about what we talk about all the time, where time is your most valuable, precious commodity that you have, right? So I don't want you guys spending 6, 8, 12 hours a day in front of your computer because I've been there. Man, I've been there. I've done it. I sleepless nights, all that other good shit. I've been there. I'm here to tell you, you don't have to do that to accomplish something and get where you need to be. Is there going to be a struggle at the very beginning? Absolutely. Is it going to take some work? Absolutely, right? You're going to have to figure out what's most important, what you need to get done, and then make the time, not take the time, but make the time to get those things accomplished. When it comes to building your business, the key secret, I'll tell you, that nobody else teaches, is having those 5 conversations per hour. That's always been the way that I've exploded any business, did my sales to 100%, all that good stuff was simply focusing on that. So think about it. You only got 15 minutes for each person. How is that conversation rolling? Do you need to continue it, or do you need to give them the, oh shit, I got another call, Keisha, I gotta run. I'll talk to you later, you know? So keep that in mind. I trust everybody got some value out of today, and we will see you again next Monday, same bat channel, 12 Eastern Standard Time. If you're watching the replay and you want to join us on the next Monday Mastermind, you can go to thelosttransition.com/live to join us live. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Appreciate each and every one of you guys. Let's go out there, kick ass, and take